The world's oceans cover over 360 million square kilometers, but only about 6% of them have been explored. The rest of the deep sea still holds many secrets and mysteries. With that in mind, join us as we uncover 20 of the most astonishing things ever discovered in water. Number 15. Pink handfish. While exploring a sunken ship off the coast of southeastern Tasmania, underwater archaeologists came across a very unusual fish. This fish had fins that looked like legs, making it stand out from other sea creatures. The fish turned out to be a pink handfish, officially named Brachyopsilus dianthus. Discovered in 1947, this species is incredibly rare, with only a few sightings reported since then. Pink handfish are quite small, averaging about 8 centimeters in length. At first, the archaeologists thought they were seeing something entirely unfamiliar, as the fish appeared to be moving in an almost unnatural way. Instead of swimming like most fish, it seemed to walk along the seabed, using its modified fins to support its body. The slow, deliberate movement made it blend seamlessly with the surrounding rocks and coral. Observing it in action gave the team a rare glimpse into a species that very few people have ever witnessed in the wild. The environment around the sunken ship, with its hidden crevices and sheltered spaces, provided the perfect habitat for such a secretive creature. The stillness of the underwater scene made the fish's movement even more striking, as it navigated its surroundings with precision. Moments like this highlight how much remains undiscovered beneath the ocean's surface. They have a flat, red body with bright spots of the same color. There are 4 species of handfish in Tasmania, but the pink handfish is unique because it doesn't have a swim bladder, which is a common feature in most fish that helps them float. Instead, pink handfish live on rocky seabeds. Their unusual fins are not great for long-distance swimming, but they are perfect for their hunting style. The fins function like hands, allowing the fish to sneak up on their prey and quickly grab it from hiding. Number 14. Ancient Roman ship. In the summer of 2019, a team of underwater researchers from the University of Cyprus made an amazing discovery. They found the wreck of an ancient Roman ship near the coast of Cyprus. The leader of the expedition said that the ship was at least 2,000 years old. What's surprising is that even though it has been underwater for more than 2,000 years, the ship is still in great shape. The cargo on the ship was also preserved well. Near the wreck, the researchers found many jars called amphorae, which were made of ceramics or terracotta. These jars have a narrow neck and 2 handles. They were used to store things like olive oil, grain, and wine. The Department of Antiquities of Cyprus believes that the ship likely belonged to traders from Syria and Cilicia in the Mediterranean region. Underwater archaeologists often find ancient shipwrecks, but only a few are as well preserved and valuable as this one. Because the ship is in such good condition, scientists and historians can learn a lot about trade during the Roman Empire and how important Cyprus was as a trading port back then. Number 13. The Spanish Galleon San Jose. In 2015, an astonishing discovery was made in the waters of Colombia. The Spanish Galleon San Jose, a warship built in 1696 with 62 cannons, was found with the help of an underwater vehicle called the Remus 6000. San Jose played a significant role during the conflicts after the Spanish ruler Charles II died. Despite many similar ships in the Spanish Navy, the San Jose stood out because it was carrying incredibly valuable cargo when it sank. On the day of its tragic end, the ship was transporting a massive load of gold and silver, worth an estimated $15 billion today. After the rebellion ended, San Jose frequently sailed between Peru and Spain, moving various treasures. This made it a prime target for other warships. On the fateful day, the San Jose was attacked by 4 English warships off the coast of Cartagena, Mexico. In a desperate move to prevent the treasures from falling into enemy hands, the captain blew up the gunpowder storage on board. This tragic decision sent almost the entire crew and the valuable cargo to the bottom of the ocean. When the wreck was finally discovered, a fierce battle for ownership began. Colombia, Spain, and even the United States all laid claim to the treasures. The dispute dragged on for years. In 2019, the Supreme Court decided that no efforts should be made to recover the galleon until it was clear which country the treasures rightfully belonged to. Number 12. Ancient stone. In 2016, near the Israeli city of Haifa in Haifa Bay, an extraordinary discovery was made, a stone tablet with ancient writings. This tablet tells the story of one of the most brutal periods in Israel's history. Scientists think that this tablet is just a small part of a much larger sculpture. It dates back over 1,800 years, and it's easy to figure out its age because the writings on it show that it was made during the time of Simon Bar Kokhba. He led a rebellion against the Roman Emperor Hadrian, who ruled over the Jewish people in the 2nd century AD. During this uprising, more than 580,000 Jews lost their lives. This artifact is incredibly important to both archaeologists and historians for two main reasons. First, it provides details about the Jewish uprising and the name of the leader who started this conflict, information that had not been found before. Second, the tablet repeatedly refers to the region as Judea. This is significant because during Hadrian's rule, the name Judea was removed from all official records, making it a rare find. Currently, scientists are working hard to fully understand the inscriptions on this stone. These writings could reveal many more details about the violence and upheaval that occurred in Israel during the 2nd century AD. Number 11. Underwater Castle. Underwater photographer Tassin Seelan put together his team and has been exploring different bodies of water for over 15 years. Recently, Seelan's team set out on an exciting adventure to Lake Van, the biggest lake in Turkey. Researchers had been eager to investigate this lake for a long time because local legends spoke of ancient ruins hidden beneath its waters. When the divers explored the area where they thought the ruins might be, they indeed discovered what appeared to be an ancient structure. They named it the Castle. According to Seelan, the structure covers about 1 square kilometer, and some of its walls rise to 3 meters. The castle is well built and mostly constructed from large stones. What's particularly fascinating is that Seelan's team found lion drawings on the castle walls. This suggests that the castle was probably built by the Urartian people, who lived in what is now Turkey around 3,000 years ago. Lions were a popular symbol among them. Lake Van has been around for more than 6,000 years and has grown larger and deeper over time. About 3,000 years ago, the area where the castle is now was dry land, but as the lake expanded, it eventually covered this region. The exact time when the stone structure sank below the lake's surface remains a mystery. Now it's time for today's topic. In April 2026, a marine research team from Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission made a disturbing discovery off the coast of Key Largo. Researcher Ethan Cole spotted what appeared to be a drifting mass beneath the surface. As their vessel approached, the shape became clear, a colossal dead shark stretching over 34 feet. It didn't resemble any documented great white shark or known species. Its proportions were unnatural, with a thicker torso and unusual fin placement. Deep wounds covered its body, suggesting a violent encounter with something even larger. Samples were collected, but early analysis confused experts. Some believe this could represent a previously unknown lineage of apex predators. Others fear something far more dangerous still swims these waters. Number 10. The Ancient Roman Tablet. In 1974 near Tuscany, Italy, a fascinating discovery was made. The remains of an ancient Roman ship that had sunk in 130 BC. 15 years later, underwater archaeologists launched their first mission to explore the wreck. On board the sunken vessel, they uncovered many precious items, including a medical kit that turned out to be the oldest of its kind ever found. This medical kit was a wooden box filled with various tools and special sealed containers called pyxides. Inside one pyxis, they found 5 round tablets, each about 4 centimeters wide. Researchers analyzed these ancient pills to understand what they were made of and what they were used for. The tablets came in 2 types. The first type was made from natural ingredients like beeswax and pine resin, suggesting that they were rich in vitamins and minerals. Scientists think these tablets were used by sailors as dietary supplements to prevent diseases. The second type contained a lot of zinc, which in ancient times was believed to help with eye and skin health. This led scientists to believe that the zinc tablets might have been used to treat eye problems. The discovery of this ancient medical kit was extremely valuable, as it gave experts a glimpse into the kinds of medicines people used over 2,100 years ago. Number 9. Stone Ring. Near the coast of the Greek island of Zakynthos, tourists came across a puzzling object, a stone structure shaped like a ring with a hole in the middle. People began to think this find might be linked to ancient civilizations, so they reached out to archaeologists for help. Naturally, scientists were intrigued by the unusual appearance of the object, which didn't seem like something that could occur naturally. When divers first approached the structure, its symmetry immediately stood out against the surrounding seabed. The ring-like formation appeared almost too perfect, raising suspicions that it might have been crafted by human hands. Some observers even compared it to ancient columns or architectural remnants submerged over time. As more of the site was examined, additional formations with similar shapes began to emerge from beneath layers of sediment. The arrangement of the stones gave the impression of an organized layout, further fueling speculation about a lost structure. The clarity of the water allowed researchers to document the site in detail, capturing images that quickly spread curiosity among experts. For a moment, it seemed like a breakthrough discovery that could rewrite part of history. They also found round stones nearby that looked like they formed a path leading to the structure. To unravel the mystery, underwater archaeologists carried out a detailed investigation. The results revealed that the structure was not made by humans. Instead, scientists discovered that the circular formation was a product of natural processes, not human activity. It turned out that the unusual shape was created by sulfate-reducing bacteria living in sediment deposits underwater. These microbes thrived because of the large amounts of methane leaking through cracks in the seabed. Their activity changed the chemistry of the deposits, making it possible for magnesium-rich carbonate rocks, known as dolomites, to form. Over time, these dolomites shaped themselves into circular plates with hollow centers. Number 8. Garden of Gnomes. Some divers decided to explore the depths of a very deep lake. As they dived down, they noticed some unusual, colorful objects lying at the lake's bottom. As they swam closer, they realized there were garden gnomes. Although these aren't real gnomes but decorative ones, their presence at the bottom of the lake is quite surprising. This is exactly what divers experience when they explore England's deepest lake, called Wastewater, located in the scenic Lake District of Cumbria. As divers descend deeper into the cold, dark water, visibility begins to fade, making the shapes on the lakebed appear even more mysterious. The gnomes, scattered across the bottom, seem almost lifelike in the dim light, creating an eerie underwater scene. Some are positioned upright, while others lie partially buried in sediment, as if frozen in time. The stillness of the environment adds to the strange atmosphere, making the discovery feel almost surreal. For many divers, encountering these figures is both fascinating and unsettling at the same time. The deeper they go, the more the lake reveals its unusual collection of hidden objects. Wastewater is about 80 meters deep. For years, this lake has attracted divers from around the world. However, the discovery of garden gnomes at the lake's bottom has drawn even more visitors. The sudden surge in divers was so significant that it caught the attention of local authorities, concerned about the safety of inexperienced divers. The police decided to remove some of the garden gnomes from the lake. In response, many divers began bringing their own gnome figurines and placing them in the lake. While the gnome garden has become a popular tourist attraction, it's important to remember that it's located at a depth of 48 meters. For those without much diving experience, this can be very risky. There have even been some tragic accidents involving divers in this area. Number 7. SS Cotopaxi ship. The Bermuda Triangle is known as one of the strangest places on Earth. Ships and planes often vanish without a trace when they enter this mysterious region. Scientists think this might be due to the area's unique features, such as the large number of underwater hills and frequent changes in the weather. One of the most famous disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle involved the coal ship SS Cotopaxi. On December 1, 1925, the ship set sail from South Carolina heading towards Cuba with 32 people on board. When the Cotopaxi entered the Bermuda Triangle, the captain tried to send a distress signal, but it never got through. Reports suggest that the weather conditions that day were unstable, with shifting winds and rough seas developing unexpectedly. Crew members likely realized something was wrong as the situation began to deteriorate rapidly. The ship may have struggled against powerful currents and waves, making navigation increasingly difficult. With communication failing, the crew would have been left isolated in a growing crisis. The vastness of the ocean around them offered no immediate help or safe refuge. As the minutes passed, the situation may have escalated beyond control, leaving little chance for recovery. The silence that followed the failed distress call only deepened the mystery surrounding their fate. Each detail of that final journey continues to raise questions that remain unanswered. As a result, the ship and everyone on it vanished without a trace. This disappearance became one of the most well-known mysteries linked to the Bermuda Triangle. The SS Cotopaxi even made its way into popular culture. In Close Encounters of the Third Kind, there's a scene featuring the Cotopaxi, reflecting its lasting intrigue. Almost 95 years later, diver Al Perkins discovered the wreckage of the SS Cotopaxi. However, even this discovery did not reveal why the ship sank in the Bermuda Triangle. Number 6. Jadeite artifacts. In 2012, archaeologists made a fascinating discovery in the Gulf of Mexico, specifically in the southern part of Veracruz state. They found strange artifacts with unusual shapes. Each object had a narrowing cylinder at its base, and above this base, there were 3 sides with indentations. On each side, there were 2 stacked rectangles with V-shaped cuts in their centers. The bottom of each rectangle had a jagged edge, and a narrow cone stuck out from the top of the item. Each artifact was about 8.6 centimeters long and made from speckled orange, brown, and white jadeite. At first glance, the objects puzzled researchers, as their design didn't match any known tools or decorative items from the region. The intricate carvings suggested that they held some form of importance, possibly beyond everyday use. As the team examined them more closely, they noticed subtle patterns that appeared deliberate rather than purely ornamental. The weight and texture of the jadeite hinted at skilled craftsmanship, indicating they were made by experienced artisans. Some archaeologists speculated that the objects may have been handled during important rituals, given their detailed and symbolic appearance. The mystery surrounding their purpose only deepened as no direct comparisons could be found in existing collections. Each new theory brought more questions, keeping the debate alive among experts studying the artifacts. For a long time, scientists struggled to figure out what these artifacts were and their purpose. Eventually, Professor Carl from the University of California proposed that these objects might have been used in Maya religious ceremonies. He suggested that they were tools for bloodletting rituals, a common practice during sacrifices. Furthermore, he believed that these artifacts could represent corn cobs, which had a sacred significance because corn was a major food source for the indigenous people of the region and was often linked to their gods. Archaeologists have dated these artifacts to the Middle Preclassic period of the Maya civilization, between 900 and 400 BC. What makes these jadeite corn cob artifacts so remarkable is that no other similar three-dimensional Maya icons have been found before. Number 5. Underwater Burial Site. In 2021, underwater archaeologists began exploring the ancient sunken city of Heracleion, which lies off the Mediterranean coast of Egypt. This city was believed to have been established around the 8th century BC. For several centuries, from the 6th to the 4th century BC, Heracleion thrived as a bustling metropolis. However, after the rise of Alexandria, Heracleion started to decline. By the 8th century AD, a powerful earthquake and tsunami caused the city to sink beneath the sea. As divers descended into the submerged ruins, they were met with an eerie yet mesmerizing landscape of fallen statues and buried structures. Columns that once stood tall now lay scattered across the seabed, partially covered in layers of sediment. The water filtered the sunlight into faint beams, casting shadows over the remnants of what was once a thriving city. Each movement of the divers stirred up fine particles, briefly clouding the view before revealing more hidden details. The silence of the underwater environment added to the sense of stepping into a forgotten world. Every artifact uncovered seemed to bring a fragment of the city's history back to life. While excavating the submerged ruins, archaeologists found an ancient shipwreck and a cemetery. The cemetery was uncovered while they were studying an underwater ridge along the location of an old canal that ran through the city. Among the cemetery's remains, they discovered many sacrificial items made from Greek pottery. These artifacts helped scientists date the cemetery to the 4th century BC, which is even before the Ptolemaic era began. This discovery reveals that Heracleion was not just an Egyptian city but also a vibrant center for Greek settlers. Greek merchants controlled the import and export of goods through the western branch of the Nile, and the city featured several sanctuaries dedicated to Greek gods. This finding demonstrates that Greeks not only lived in Egyptian cities but also played a crucial role in trade and urban development. Number 4. Giant hydrothermal vents. During a long trip off the coast of Ecuador, scientists made an incredible discovery. They found a whole network of hot springs. These springs are like clusters of old smokestacks, spread out over about 600 meters of the ocean floor near the western edge of the underwater volcano Los Huérfanos East. Some of these smokestacks are truly huge, rising to 15 meters above the seabed. The scientists were excited to find a rich and varied range of animal life around these hot springs. As their submersible descended into the darkness, the glow of the vents slowly came into view, illuminating the otherwise black surroundings. The scene looked almost otherworldly, with mineral-rich plumes rising like smoke into the cold ocean water. Strange creatures moved around the vents, completely adapted to conditions that would be lethal to most life forms. The heat radiating from the springs created shimmering distortions in the water, making everything appear slightly unreal. Researchers watched in awe as life thrived in a place once thought to be completely inhospitable. Each new species they encountered added to the sense that they were exploring an entirely hidden ecosystem. The deeper they observed, the more complex the environment appeared, revealing layers of interaction between organisms and their extreme surroundings. Among the creatures living around the springs, they discovered 15 new species that they had never seen before in this area. One of the interesting findings was the monoplacophorine tiny mollusks that have hardly changed over millions of years of evolution. Hot springs are like underwater geysers created by shifting tectonic plates. Seawater seeps into cracks in the ocean floor, gets heated by magma from beneath the Earth's surface, and then gushes out through the springs along with various minerals. The water coming from these springs can reach temperatures of over 350 degrees Celsius, but it doesn't boil because the high pressure of the deep sea keeps it from turning into steam. Number 3. Yanaguni Monument. The ocean floor is full of hidden wonders, including strange and unexplored deep-sea creatures, as well as intriguing geological formations. One of these fascinating formations is the Yanaguni Monument. In 1986, a Japanese diver named Kihachiro Aratake was exploring the waters near Yanaguni Island, hoping to observe tiger sharks. Instead, he stumbled upon large stones with unusual shapes. These stones, with their flat, rectangular terraces and unusual protrusions, looked like a multi-layered pyramid rather than a natural formation. Scientists quickly took an interest in this discovery, naming it the Yanaguni Monument. The true nature of this monument sparked much debate. Some scientists speculated that it might be a man-made structure that ended up underwater due to a natural disaster. However, most geologists believe it was formed by natural processes. Professor Masaaki Kimura, an expert in marine geology and seismology, became fascinated by the Yanaguni Monument. He spent over a decade studying it and discovered various stone tools, images, and other artifacts around the site. Based on these findings, Professor Kimura concluded that the Yanaguni Monument was created by humans and was part of a large city from an ancient civilization that was submerged underwater. Despite Kimura's evidence supporting this theory, many scientists still argue that the Yanaguni Monument is a natural geological formation, possibly several hundred million years old, and classify it as a terrain formation. The debate continues, leaving the true origins of the Yanaguni Monument shrouded in mystery. Number 2. Antikythera mechanism. The Antikythera mechanism is one of the most intriguing and impressive artifacts ever found underwater. Scientists first encountered this mysterious object in 1901 when an ancient shipwreck was discovered at the bottom of the Ionian Sea near the Greek island of Antikythera. A year later, the ship's remains along with various artifacts were brought up from the sea, including a peculiar stone with gears. At that time, scientists didn't recognize the significance of this object and largely ignored it because they didn't understand what it was or what it did. It wasn't until almost 50 years later that English historian Derek John de Solla Price began to investigate it using X-ray technology. Price discovered that the mechanism functioned as an ancient calendar. He also found that it could track the positions of the sun, moon, and other planets. This breakthrough sparked interest among other scientists, many of whom tried to recreate the device. The most notable success came from Michael Wright, a specialist in mechanisms, who confirmed Price's findings and added that the device could perform arithmetic calculations and account for the moon's elliptical orbit. In 2021, scientists made a remarkable advancement by creating a replica of the Antikythera mechanism that closely resembled the original. This was made possible by the discovery of 29 additional gears. We now understand that the mechanism was a wooden box containing 37 gears, along with dials, rims, concentric rings, and pointers. It was operated by a hand on the side. With this sophisticated device, ancient scientists could predict at least 42 astronomical events and perform various mathematical calculations. This makes the Antikythera mechanism the oldest known analog computer, and it is over 2,100 years old. Number 1. Methane leak in the Baltic Sea. In 2023, Swedish scientists made a surprising discovery, a huge methane leak at the deepest part of the Baltic Sea. Methane leaks are usually found in shallow coastal areas and aren't considered dangerous. However, this was the first time such a large amount of gas had been found in such a deep spot. The discovery happened during a trip led by researchers from Linnaeus University and Stockholm University. As their instruments scanned the seafloor, unusual readings began to appear, indicating something far from ordinary beneath the surface. The team deployed cameras and sensors to get a closer look, unsure of what they were about to uncover. When the visuals came through, they revealed streams of bubbles rising steadily from the seabed, creating an eerie underwater scene. The sight was both fascinating and concerning, as the volume of gas seemed far greater than expected. Researchers carefully documented the phenomenon, aware that they were witnessing something rarely observed at such depths. The stillness of the deep sea made the constant release of methane even more striking, as if the ocean floor itself was breathing. Each observation raised new questions about what might be happening beneath the layers of sediment. They were exploring the Landsort Deep, located about 30 kilometers from the Swedish coastal town of Nynäshamn, known as the deepest point in the Baltic Sea. The methane was leaking from a depth of about 400 meters, and the affected area covered roughly 20 square kilometers. Professor Marcelo Ketzer from Linnaeus University shared that the exact reason for this massive methane release is still a mystery. It might be related to the buildup of marine sediments caused by deep currents. Scientists are unsure what the consequences of this gas leak will be, as such a large amount of methane can be very dangerous. They are continuing their research to understand more about this unusual and possibly dangerous event. Which of these astonishing discoveries did you find the most intriguing? Let us know your answer in the comments section. See you in the next video.